What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back. Thank you very much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you for watching this video today. As always, if you like what I'm talking about, you like me, you like the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. It grows the channel, lets me, touch, many other people's lives as we continue to grow and, pass along a positive impact, I hope. But today I want to talk about consuming, right? And understanding, how to think for yourself in a sense, because we live in an era where people are absolutely consumed by other people talking, right? The internet, right? I'm one of them, right? I talk online and I talk to you guys and, but my goal is to be positive and promote positivity and touch base with all you guys and kind of be a voice and a friend for anyone that I can be, right? I want to help and do what I can to leave a positive mark on the world. But a lot of people out there do not care. And a lot of people out there are just gonna tell you this or tell you that to get views, likes, money, whatever, right? And I think a lot of times people are so into consuming stuff where they truly lose track of how they think, right? And what I mean by this is, like, people will tell you there's no shortage of opinions on the internet, right? And a lot of those things are not rooted in fact or truth, right? And the other thing is that people are different, right? Some people process things, differently than others. Some people, react to certain things different than others. Some people live their lives different than others, right? And that's fine as long as you're living your life, in a peaceful nature and not harming other people or yourself. I see no problem with it. But my point here is that a lot of people wind up making decisions that isn't really influenced by their own thought. Right, and I'll give you a perfect example of this. I watch a lot of dietary videos and videos about cooking and stuff like that, and I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard people on the internet say that fruit is bad for you. Fruit is bad for you? Think about that, right? Something that is grown out of grass, trees, plants, natural things that are occurring on the planet that we call home in Earth. How could that be bad for you, right? And I understand, fruits have sugars, this, that, whatever, but I don't really understand that, right? And I am a guy that eats a lot of fruit. I eat a lot of fruit and a lot of vegetables, right? And I've heard the same thing about vegetables. Apparently vegetables are bad for you too, whatever, right? I don't believe any of that because at the end of the day, I've been eating fruit since I was a child. I've been eating a lot of vegetables since I was a child, right? And fruit has never made me feel bad. Unless the fruit itself had gone bad and spoiled, I've never felt uneasy or sick or like I, am ill because of fruit. In fact, after I work out, before I work out, for breakfast, I eat fruit. It makes me feel a lot better. It allows me to get through the day. I'm more focused. My body's in better shape. My hair, my skin, they look better. It's like stuff like that, right? But the only way that I can truly prove that point to myself, that fruit is actually good for you, vegetables are actually good for you, is by seeing how my body reacts to it, right? And that's just one example, right? And I'm using an example of food, right? It's a little different when you're processing information that you're receiving online or from someone or whatever, right? The way we consume information is different than how our bodies process food, right? But I've seen this time and time again where, people will tell me about something and I'm like, that was AI, right? Like that wasn't a real video. But people get so into this stuff and opinionated and it influences their whole way of thinking when the whole basis of their argument is based on something that was fake. Right? And that's just how the internet is nowadays. But a lot of people, I'm surprised, don't check multiple sources to see if something's true or not. Right? I remember I had to learn this in school, which I'm very grateful for that they taught us this at such a young age. But when I was doing papers and, writing essays and reports when I was in like grade school, like third, fourth, fifth grade, I remember they used to tell me that you have to look at multiple sources, right? Like if you can find, something, 2 or 3 sources that say something along the lines of what you're citing in your paper, like that's good, right? And it's fine if you had one source. It was school, right? They didn't really care, but they would stress the importance of you need to confirm what you're saying is factual, right? And 3 sources could still be lying about the same thing, who knows? But it's a lot less likely for it to be just a blatant lie or just not factual information if tons of sources and people are saying it, right? Doesn't mean that it's impossible, but there's some sort of truth to be told in that, if everyone is saying the same thing, there's probably some weight to it. Doesn't mean it's true, but there's probably some weight to it, right? But a lot of you motherfuckers are one source Sallies. But with the internet, it's changed a lot because you have so many people that are feeding off one another, and they're all making these videos about, oh, buy this because if you buy this in 10 years, it's going to be worth 400 times what it's worth now, or you should use this as a face mask because it'll make your skin look better and this or that, whatever, right? And it's just like there are so many things on the internet that people are consuming on a daily basis that people really have no free thought anymore, which is alarming, right? Because the most important thing, right, is that everyone that's listening right now, everyone on the planet, everyone was given life for a reason, in my opinion, right? Everyone's here for a purpose. And we all have free will. And I think it's extremely important that while you're on this earth, while you're living life, while you're breathing air, you need to make sure that the decisions that you're making are your decisions, right? And that doesn't mean you can't listen to other people. You can't take other people's advice. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is it's important to listen to other people and take their advice, but also at the same time, use it as, reference to what your thoughts actually are, right? If someone is telling you to do this, but you think you should do this, think about why that person said that and why you feel like you should do it this way, right? And weigh those things out in your head, right? Because it might change your decision a little bit, but at that point, you've weighed what other people are saying, you've done your research, you've gone through the process, you're still making that decision yours at the end of the day. But if someone's just like, do this, and you just do it wholeheartedly, no hesitation, it's a little different, right? Like you're not really making that decision at the end of the day, right? And I think this is another reason why a lot of people today just don't really have accountability, because you hear people all the time, get into trouble, right? I can't tell you how many body cam videos I've seen of police arresting people, and they're like, oh, well, I was just doing this because I thought I could do this. And, it's just so many people just blame their decisions on what other people that they probably don't even know are telling them to do, right? So just think about that and think about how wild that is, right? So I just urge all you guys, if there's something that you feel like isn't truly correct or it's not good for you, be strong enough to make a decision to, go against the grain, if you will, right? Or just, don't be so consumed by other people's opinions, right? Make a decision based on what you feel is right, and some things that I think about, right, is if you move through life with empathy, right, understanding that I wouldn't want to do this because it'll affect somebody, and if I was in that person's shoes, I wouldn't want them to do it to me, right? That's empathy in a sense. And the golden rule, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And when others go low, you go high, right? If you can live your life, dealing with those principles and understanding that stuff, you're going to be just fine. But make sure the decisions you're making are your decisions, right? And again, you can take other people's, words, process them, but at the end of the day, make sure you're doing what you want to do, not what someone else is telling you should do, right? So that's all I got, guys. I love you all. I believe in you all. I'm gonna catch you guys later, man. Stay up, stay blessed, stay safe, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. Peace out.